Alright then, welcome to the video everyone. Today we're back on Battlefield 5 and we're going to be all about those tools of war, the weapons, specifically the gun choices available for the primary slot on each class. I recently made a video discussing my top picks for each one, which I highly recommend you watch after this if you end up enjoying this video. It's interesting to see what all different people in the community like to use, plus I made it so it's absolute fire, obviously, but no, seriously, go and watch it. And so as promised, today I'm bringing to you the weapons I totally avoid in each class. I've come up with one primary weapon for each class that is my least favourite. I'll be looking at them more so in terms of just what I think and feel when using them, rather than getting in depth with stats like I normally do. And let me stress that, just like in my previous video, I wasn't saying the weapons were the best, just saying that they were my favourite. Well, today, I'm not saying these weapons are the worst, I'm simply saying they're my least favourite. What you enjoy and use well is all that matters. So make sure you let me know your least favourite weapons for each class in the comments below. I'm very interested in seeing what everyone picks, and so with all of that covered, let's get into this. We start with the Assault class, and the weapon I totally avoid for it is the Turner SMLE. Now remember what I literally just said, all you people freaking out, I'm not saying it's bad. It's not the worst gun or anything like that. In fact, statistically, this weapon is up near the top. When Battlefield 5 first came out, this was seen as a bit of a god gun, but I've never connected with it. It's a little hard to understand exactly why, but it just feels awkward to me. Upon more thinking though, I narrowed the reason down a bit. So the Turner just kicks up that bit more for a semi-auto. There's some undeniable recoil. Now this likely isn't too big a deal on PC, where recoil control is pretty easy, but with a controller using thumbsticks, it can be tricky. And this is coming from someone who doesn't generally have an issue with controlling recoil, but it's the basic premise that if a weapon is kicking up somewhat significantly, it's a bit of a trial to keep it on target using your thumb. Now not to worry, you're probably thinking, the Turner has recoil buffer as a fourth choice specialization, and while that's true, I don't use it. And the reason is because if you use that, you can't select light and stock, and I truly can't deal with being sluggish. It feels clunky and doesn't fit my movement style. I don't want to be near standing still with a weapon that often needs to land 3 or 4 shots, depending on the length of the engagement, where you hit, if they heal, etc, etc. It's way too easy to be shot from multiple angles in this game, so I'm not keen on making myself an easy target. And therein lies the main problem for me. It's a choice of be slow and play in a way that doesn't fit my playstyle, or have extra difficulty landing shots on a weapon that's main strength is its raw power to balance out its slower rate of fire. So landing that damage consistently and at somewhere near max rate of fire is key, otherwise it's not worth selecting over other options. So as you can see, my problem with it mainly comes down to a combination of platform and playstyle. A similar issue doesn't bother me when using say the ZH-29 because I can rely on that always being a 2-shot kill, but the Turner isn't. For that you need headshots, and with that in mind, it can't compete for me with my favourite choice, the AGM-42, which has a higher rate of fire, less recoil, and can still 2-shot headshot. Add to that the MES-44 kinda came in and replaced a lot of what the Turner was selected for, and with that all in mind, the Turner becomes a pretty easy least favourite choice for me. So even though it's supposedly a very good gun, that's my weapon that I totally avoid for the Assault class, because basically everything in the Assault class is good. Next up we have the Medic class, and I'm going for the Commando Carbine. This really wasn't a tough choice for me at all. It came down to one large factor that brought me to a short list of 2, and then I simply picked my least favourite out of them. So basically, if I'm playing as a medic, I want to use an SMG. They're designed to have an actual strength, which is to be close quarters powerhouses, and I like that. What I don't like are the bolt action carbines. Now I think it's cool that medics now have another weapon type, which adds some variety and opportunity for other playstyles, but for pure efficiency, they aren't for me. They're kinda like very weak self-loading rifles in my mind. They can 2-shot kill at close range, but beyond that, the bullets to kill requirement starts to increase rapidly. So if I'm gonna use one, I'll go for the one that's higher damage and higher accuracy, giving me an increased chance of landing the kill with less rounds, especially with the higher chance of it being in one round on a somewhat weak enemy, which means the Tromboncino or Trombocino or this long name one wins for me, even with a slower rate of fire. It just feels more lethal, and it's not as if the Commando Carbine fires that quickly anyway. Plus the Trombo has those grenades, which I totally didn't know about while making a whole live gameplay I recorded, which I will put out soon, I've had it for ages. But anyway, the Commando Carbine is the better hipfire choice, choice, and I think that's why most advocates for it use it. And I get that, it's a different and somewhat effective option, but for me, if I wanted hipfire and close quarters ability, then I'll just use the provided and specialized SMGs. They're absolutely better for hipfire, and something like the Sten, the ZK, the MAB, etc. can all kill at medium range anyway. So while the Commando Carbine isn't bad, I just don't think it's good either. At least not for me. And I think it would be difficult for anyone to argue otherwise with the stats in mind. It is pretty cool that you can use a somewhat precision weapon whilst healing due to being a medic, I'll give it that, but I just perform so much better with an SMG, and I can't ignore my own performance. That really tells me everything I need to know about what I use. It may well be the Commando Carbine is that little bit more viable on PC due to the extra precision you can achieve, but it also likely still gets stomped by actual bolt actions and such like for the same reasons. So yeah, the Commando Carbine is my weapon I totally avoid for the medic class. Next up we have the support class, and I'm going for the VGO. This is essentially because I don't like MMGs. I don't use MMGs, and I picked the one that seemed the worst from a statistical perspective. Now I know I said at the start I wouldn't focus on stats, but I just flat out don't like MMGs, so I didn't have much to work with to select this one. I could realistically have put any and all MMGs in here and it would have been fine. Now don't get it twisted, I don't think that using MMGs well is easy. In fact, it's very hard as they're very limited and require a lot of game sense, such as positioning, but using them at a low or just kind of average level doesn't require much at all, and I find it very boring and kinda cheesy to be honest, not to mention very frustrating to play against. But I don't hate MMG users, there's no point in that. It's in the game, so it's there to be used. I just dislike that they're actually in the game itself. Implementing a weapon such as this is something I don't foresee DICE ever repeating in another Battlefield title. But anyway, did I have fun recording this footage for the video? Not really, not as such. It made a change, but I'd still pick almost any other weapon over an MMG. I did however like the stock iron sights on the VGO, which is unusual for me in this game. They're kinda like simplified AA sights and I found them very clear and easy to use. So points to the VGO for that. And perhaps with more usage, the VGO would climb above other MMGs for me, but it's unlikely to get the chance. I'm just not a fan. I actually find it kind of funny that the new in thing to hate is the Boys AT rifle, and that's far less of an issue than MMGs. It's not even close. Since the Boys was put in the game, I've been killed by one maybe like 10 times at most. Whereas MMGs, let's just say it's far more frequent. So you can give me the Lewis gun over this any day. And that's why the VGO is the weapon I totally avoid for the support class. And now we come to the recon class, and this choice required almost no consideration from me. I'm picking the P08 carbine. This was also by far the least fun I had whilst recording for this video, and although I didn't really like the other weapons I used, I didn't feel like I was having to work too much harder to perform at my usual level, but the P08 had me sweating. I had to constantly consider my positioning, react very quickly in engagements, hit a lot of my shots, and just all out try hard to win basic fights. Now I have since had some discussion on Twitter about this, and some people like the weapon, they like its hip fire and the ability to run and gun as a recon, and I get that, I just don't feel the same way when using it. And my playstyle comes into this again, as I don't have an issue using SLRs up close, and they're so much better at range than the P08 carbine. And I often rely upon my sidearm anyway at close range without significant issues, so the P08 just doesn't hold any value for my playstyle or where my strengths already lie. Plus it's not as if the P08 is on par with specialized close quarters weapons, so while I understand why some like it, you know, using a flare and then running in with it, it just doesn't apply to me at all. On top of that, there's the fact I'm on console, and I know I keep bringing up PC versus console, but it does make sense that my least favourite weapons may also be ones that I don't feel perform as well on my platform. Some people really enjoy the P08 on console and that's cool, but the way I look at it, it's again harder to control recoil on console, and the P08 doesn't have any aim down sight stability specializations available. None. Which makes it even more of a close quarters specific weapon, which as I've explained, just isn't necessary for me to use as a recon, as I can use the other guns there without any problems. And so that's why the P08 carbine is my recon weapon that I totally avoid. Now, I've given you mine, make sure you give me yours. What are your weapons you totally avoid for each class? Let me and everyone else know in the comments below. It's always interesting to read these things. If you enjoyed the video, it takes literally almost no effort to turn on notifications so you don't miss future content. Plus, please hit that like button, subscribe and join my Discord server in the description and my pinned comment. Here's the Board of Awesome for the epic people who support the channel on Patreon. They're all absolute heroes and I love them all deeply and of course, often. If you want to join them on the Board of Awesome, the link to the Patreon page is in the description and my pinned comment. And with that all said, I'm GetGoodGuy and I'll see you next time. Laters. Right, welcome to the filler screen where I use a random word generator and talk about it to fill out the rest of the video. Let's do this. The word is necklace. I don't know much about necklaces because I don't wear them. I've seen some surfer boys wear them with their puka shells on them. I find that a little bit strange, to be completely honest with you. I'm not casting any aspersions. That's fine if you want to do that. My girlfriend doesn't really wear necklaces. She does now and again. Maybe she'll buy her one sometime. Don't know. I've said that. If she watches this now, she'll expect one. I'm not definitely going to get you one, Ems, just so you're aware. But I might do. I'm not saying I won't, because then you'll be mad and be like, why don't you do that? But then when other boyfriends do, I've kind of got myself in a problem here just at the end of the video trying to fill it out. So I'm probably going to lose money now buying a necklace at some point in the future, rather than making money based on doing this at the end of the video. I wonder if this is enough. Probably. That didn't go very well. Bye.